separate accounting done for that. So somebody saying, as we follow 12 months financial period, so we record the complete event happened during that period. Yes, very much. So at the end, you drop a profit and loss account or a balance sheet. In fact, companies do that on a monthly basis. They don't even wait for the end of 12 months to drop annual financial statements. They do that every month to analyze that if they are going in the right direction or not, where they are gaining or they are having losses, what better they can do. So that is called MIS reporting, which is done every month by companies at every month end. Yeah. So here is a definition. Let's try to read that and understand whether we have understood something different or this is what we have understood. Yeah. So the accounting definition that is given here is the process of recording, classifying, summarizing, analyzing, and interpreting the financial transactions of the business for the benefit of management and those parties who are interested in business. So if you break this down in 2-3 parts, you will see that the first piece we have already discussed, that what is accounting? You need to record whatever is happening in your business, right? Then you need to classify, summarize, analyze, and interpret the financial transactions of the business. What do you understand by classifying, summarizing, analyzing, and interpreting the financial transactions? Anyone? Are you guys able to speak in this meeting, or you'll have to just type only? I'm not really aware if you guys are on mute by yourself or you've been muted by the host.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, hi Aditya.
Yeah, hi. This is basically the process of recording. Is in like if you're that's the period of 12 months of we record everything, whatever the transactions will happen, and again we classify it in the various asset or liability, whatever it is, and again we follow the journal entries or ledger, whatever we see, and again and that has been recorded in the balance sheet or in P&L. So that's what it is.
Perfect. So guys, yes, as Aditya said, the process of recording is when you record the transactions, but mere recording of such transactions is not sufficient, right? First of all, you record those financial transactions in some financial language, right? So in the further part of this session, we'll discuss the basic accounting concepts as well as the accounting rules. But I think you have a fair idea because this session has also been handled before. You might be knowing about what to be debited and credited, right? In that way, you need to post these journal entries. Then after posting these journal entries, you need to classify them, which of them belong to profit and loss and which of them belong to balance sheet, right? Then you summarize them. You prepare a trial balance. Yes, then you analyze them, and when you interpret them. So interpreting is the most important part. Like all throughout the process, you are doing all that recording, the summarizing, the classification and everything. But at the end, if you're not able to interpret such financial transactions and their impact on the business, it's of no use, right? So interpreting is the most important part, wherein we drop those financial statements and then go into the financial statements and try to analyze, right? So there are a lot of ratios that we do. You must be aware of this earning per share ratios and everything, and more such ratios: current assets, fixed assets turnover ratio, sales ratios. There are a lot of ratios by which you can analyze the financial statements and what exactly is happening in your business, right? So for example, a very small example would be, if you look at the current assets in your balance sheet and you compare the same with the current liabilities of your balance sheet, you can very easily tell that if the company is having a liquidity crunch or not, right? So suppose you have 100 rupees of current assets and you have 120 rupees of current liabilities. What does that mean? You have to interpret that and analyze that, right? So if you have current liabilities of rupees 120 and assets to pay that current liability, you are having a liquidity crunch, right? Because that means that to pay those current liabilities of 120 rupees, you might even have to, sell your fixed assets because you don't have sufficient cash and bank balance or inventory or debtors to pay that off. So in that way, this is a very small example. We can discuss that in detail in the later part of the session, or maybe in the session where you will be studying about ratios. But yeah, this is the basic process. Yeah. So once all of this is done, what is the use of it? When you interpret the financial transactions of the business, you try to read the impact of those transactions on the business. Yeah, and that is how it benefits the management and the other stakeholders, right? And who are these stakeholders? Stakeholders are everyone who is interested in your business because of any benefit, right? They might be your investors, they might be your employees, your creditors, taxation authorities, government, banks, your lenders, everyone. Yeah. So accounting is everything which you are doing for your stakeholders. So the purpose of accounting, like we already discussed, it's a systematic record. Day by day transactions shall have to be recorded to analyze their impact, right? Suppose something happened today and you are going to record all the transactions that have happened throughout the week. After a week, would you be able to tell which transaction led to another transaction? Never. You'll have to record all of those transactions in a chronological manner, right? So accounting is a systematic record. You record those transactions day by day, event by event, so that you have everything intact in one place, right? Presentation of complete picture. Like we talked about what exactly is accounting. The definition itself talks about the purpose of accounting. Yeah. It is for the benefit of the management and the stakeholders, right? So if you are able to interpret and analyze and prepare a good set of financial statements for the benefit of all the stakeholders, you will be able to present a complete picture of whatever is happening in your business in one set of financial statements. You have a statement of profit and loss, you have a statement of balance sheet, you have a cash flow statement, you have a lot of notes and disclosures in your financial statements, which talk a lot about your business. Anything that is material for the stakeholders to know, you are supposed to present all of that information in your financial statements. So in that way, accounting gives you a complete picture of a business, right? So accounting as business language. So this one is crucial. So guys, why do we need accounting? Like we said that we are not the only individuals who are doing business in an environment. We have a lot of companies, entities, and other businesses who are working around us, right? So we need to have a common set of language, common set of principles to record such financial transactions and accounting events so that all the financial statements are comparable. So accounting serves as a business language also. So if two business people are standing and they are talking about how much their sales are for this year, how much their gross profit is or their net profit is, yeah. So I think they the information that they exchange with each other, that would make sense, right? Because they're using a common language, which is accounting. Then accounting is also a statutory requirement, guys. You must be knowing that every company or every firm is supposed to file their annual financial statements with government, with MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, right? So it's a statutory requirement also. The need for accounting, we have already discussed that. Everybody needs such information which is relevant for them. And in that way, we need accounting, right? Investors and other internal external groups want the answers to two important questions. How well will the organization perform and where does the organization stand? Yeah, this is what we just discussed, that whatever is happening in your business, you need to record that, you need to analyze that and interpret that. Interpretation is also very necessary. And how do we interpret that information? In the form of financial statements. So balance sheet and profit and loss statement are a part of the set of financial statements only. Yeah. Guys, any question till now? Anything that like I should explain any further, or if I'm going too fast or going too slow?
No, we are good.
Ma'am, yes, we are good, but I think this is pretty much basics. So if you can just,
So I really get that these are very basics, and since I know that this session has already happened before, so I have been told that a lot of you have not actually got much good out of it. So I have started from the basics only. This is how I take the sessions from the scratch. But it would be really helpful if all of you can tell me that whatever you know and whatever you guys want to know, I can focus that. I can give more focus onto that and answer your queries if you say.
ma'am, I think we all are good. You just please continue with the flow, and jahan par bhi if there is any problem, so we'll ask you.
Yeah, sure. Makes sense. So as I've already told you guys, that you can speak up anywhere you need to ask me anything, or you need to stop me for anything. I'd be perfectly fine. Yeah, just let me know. So yeah, this is the accounting process that we just discussed in the definition also. Identification, recording, communication, analyze and interpret for users. Yeah. So this is the accounting process, and every step of this process is very important to understand. First of all, let's talk about identification. So what do you understand by identification? Why do we even need to identify that what should be recorded?
Hi, Shakshi.
Hi.
Yeah, I from my understanding, identification refers to that transaction which we can measure in terms of money, because we cannot enter any transaction in accounting or pass any journal entry for any transaction which cannot be measured in money.
Perfect.
And
Yeah, perfect. So this is it, why we need to identify, because every information cannot be recorded in the books of account. You need to look at what are actually the financial transactions or economic events that need to be recorded. Anything that is of monetary value can be recorded. Well, a lot of information is also disclosed in financial statements, but for the purpose of, recording in the books of account by way of journal entry or posting in the ledgers, you need to look at the information which is in the term of money. anything that is having a denoted monetary value to it can be recorded in the books of account. Yeah. The next step is the recording. Yeah. So once you have identified what transactions you have to record, then you record, classify, and summarize those transactions. What do you understand by record, classify, and summarize? Like we already discussed, record is in the form of journal entries, right? Then you classify them in ledgers, and then you summarize them into a trial balance. This is the process of recording those financial transactions. You record them, you classify them, and then you summarize them. Yeah. The next step is the communication. You prepare a lot of accounting reports to be submitted to the management for their analysis, for their decision making. That step is the communication step. And the last step is the analysis of such information of those accounting reports by the management. And then, further downloading that information, that decisions that they have taken to the users. And who are these users?
Stakeholders and everyone.
Yeah. So all of those users. So the management is responsible to, communicate all of that information to the users, the stakeholders. So that is the last step. Yeah. So who uses accounts? So these are the stakeholders, guys. The shareholders, investors, customers, suppliers, tax authorities, lenders, employees, financial communities. So this financial communities is a new one. Why is accounting information required by financial communities? Because they do a lot of researches for the benefit of the society and financial individuals, entities, companies. They're doing a lot of researches and publishing a lot of reports. So they use these accounting information for their analysis and research. Tax authorities also need accounting information, yeah, to arrive at proper numbers, whatever tax is due from the companies, their revenues, their collections, and everything. They need to have proper accounting information for that. Similarly, all these are the users of the accounts. Any question, guys?
No, ma'am.
So like we were discussing, that there are internal as well as external users of this accounting information, and they ask a lot of questions. These are the needs of the internal users or the external users of the accounting information. Yeah. So who are these internal users? The management, right? And what kind of questions they are asking? Can we afford to give employees pay raises this year? What is the cost of manufacturing each unit of product? Which product line is the most profitable? Is cash sufficient to pay bills? Also, further questions can be, whether they need finances from lenders, whether they need more equity. Yeah. So all of this information can be derived from the financial statements. So all the decision making is also done by the management basis this accounting information, which is also for their competitors, whether to be in the competition with the same companies in the arena or not, what further they can do to their business, whether they should advertise more or add more specifications to the existing products, and whether that is profitable also. What kind of risk can be taken? Yeah. So like we talked about who all are the stakeholders of this financial information, who all are interested in a business, and they need all this information to understand what is their future with the company, or maybe, you know, they can get profits, whether for creditors, for the lenders. It is important to know how well the company is doing, how well the business is doing, to determine whether they will be receiving their money back or not. Yeah. So at times there is a conflict of interest between between various stakeholders. Yeah. So with financial statements, it can be between investors, suppliers, or stockholders. Yeah. The stockholders would want higher stock prices, for which they might, you know, create a pressure on the management that you might just present fake information, inflate revenues, or you know, show more lines of businesses, more segments, whatever. Make changes to the financial statements to increase stock prices so that they get more profits. However, people who have their money stuck in the business would want correct information to be reflected so that they know how well the business is doing and whether they will get their money in return or not. Yeah. Guys, now we are going to discuss the types of accounts. Is there anything that you would need more clarity upon with whatever we have discussed till now? Or we are good? Should we proceed to discuss the rules of accounting?
Yes, please.
Okay. So first of all, let's talk about the types of accounts. So however deep your accounting knowledge is, whatever level of qualifications that you're going to achieve, these are the three basic types of accounts that you need to know. Whatever critical information you have, whatever complex journal entry you have, like any information, but these are the three kinds of accounts that would be there when you're passing a journal entry at whatever level. Even at the basic level that you are purchasing a stock or something, or even if you are selling a company, purchasing a company, even then, these are the three types of accounts that are there. Accounting is not beyond these three accounts. Okay. So first is personal accounts. Then there is impersonal account, of which there are two parts. So we can say that there are three types of accounts: personal accounts, real accounts, and nominal accounts. So what are personal accounts? As the name suggests, personal accounts are accounts which are related to an individual, like an organization. Yeah. Maybe an artificial or a real person, but person. So those are personal accounts. So if you say
But
Mr.
just now
X,
you said that personal account can be a company account,
yeah, it can be.
and now you are saying that it should be an individual or a person X account. So can you
I'm
please?
saying that it can be a real person or an artificial person. Company is an artificial person only.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So whatever is like in the name of something, that would be a personal account. So if you say Mr. X, Mr. Y, or maybe company ABC, company XYZ, all of those would be personal accounts. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So then there are real accounts. Real accounts are asset accounts, which are tangible, right? So what all can be real accounts? Cash is a real account. Building is a real account. Furniture, real account. Machinery, real account. Okay. So real accounts are assets which are tangible in nature. Then there are nominal accounts. Nominal accounts are what? Nominal accounts are there for gains and losses, expenses, and incomes. Simple. So personal accounts, real accounts, and nominal accounts. With these three types of accounts, we'll understand how to make journal entries.
And what
Okay.
about intangible accounts? Intangible things, I mean.
Yeah, intangibles would also be in real accounts only, because those are also assets. Intangible assets you're saying, or what?
When you said that tangible things comes under real accounts. So what
Yeah,
about the
actually the
intangible?
definition says so. If you look at the real accounts definition, it says that which are tangible in nature. But this is like, I believe the definition has not been revised even after a lot of accounting development. So yeah, your question is valid. Intangibles would also be there in real accounts. Also, I can tell you there is a way to see, like if you see intangible, what all are intangibles? Hello?
Services
Services.
are intangible in nature.
So what entry would you do for services? You're giving services, right? Or you are taking services?
Goodwill is intangible.
Goodwill is intangible, right? It's an asset. So that would be real account. Give me more examples of whatever. Tangible, intangible, or anything that you're thinking that where it should fall. It should be in personal account, real account, or nominal account. Try to think of it. So nominal account would only have expenses, incomes, gains, and losses. Okay. Real accounts would have assets in place, and personal accounts would be related to individuals or companies, basically persons, artificial or real. So if you look at one item, you can probably try to classify in these three types of accounts, and you will understand that it whether it belongs to personal, real, or nominal. Give me more examples. So okay, the question is which do not have any physical existence, like furniture purchased by an entity in cash. So what in this example, what exactly doesn't have a physical existence? Furniture also have a physical existence, and cash also has a physical existence. By the way, both are real accounts. Examples for so I am asking you guys that whatever you have in your mind, give me that example, and let's see where it falls. Personal account, real account, or nominal account? Okay, Megha says providing pest control services. So that might be your business, right? So providing pest control services would be the services that you are giving in a business, right? You will receive money for that. That would be your income, right? So services would be a nominal account.
But services are intangible,
Your voice,
right?
your voice.
But services are intangible.
Services are intangible.
Yes.
Yeah, but those are not assets, right? Real accounts
No.
are assets, tangible or intangible.
Okay.
Let me go to the definitions page, and then probably you can understand it better. So these are the personal accounts, like we discussed. Any person, artificial or real. So customers, debtors, suppliers, creditors, yeah. XYZ, your vendors, companies. These are companies, right? Dell, Microsoft, XYZ. We'll come to the rules in a minute. Let's first look at the definitions only. Okay. So these are real accounts. The elements or accounts which are tangible in nature. So the definition says that it's tangible in nature, but I would say that all the assets would fall in real accounts only, even if they are intangible. But you'll have to look for assets. Okay. So like you are saying that services being provided are intangible in nature, don't mix it up. The services that you are providing are your services in the nature of business. That is the business you are doing. You're providing services and you're getting money for that, right? So that is nominal account. When you give services, you will credit your revenue. And if you receive cash for that, that is a real account, you'll have to debit that. We'll come to the rules in a minute. And even then, if you have questions, we can discuss more about it. Okay. So real accounts are assets accounts, factories, furniture, buildings, computers. Even if you talk about softwares, which are intangible in nature, goodwill, which is intangible in nature, that will be real account. Okay. I'll come to the rule in a minute. Next
Investor.
Ma'am,
one.
investors comes in which account? Investors.
Come again, sorry.
Investors, which category do they fall
Investors.
in?
You're saying investors?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so investors would be a personal account, right? Investor would be a person, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so that would be
Financial
personal.
uh,
Sorry, come again, please.
financial communities also be a part of personal account.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So those of us who are confusing the services and the salary pass, just have a look at this slide and let's discuss more about it. These are the nominal accounts, which are related to expenses, incomes, gains, and losses. Okay. So just have a look here. So interest on investments received would be your income. Sales, also an income. Rental income. Salary payments, bank charges, electricity expenses, interest on loans paid. Basically, whatever expenses you are doing or incomes that you are earning, whatever gains and losses are happening, maybe you are selling an asset and getting a profit on that, that would be a nominal account only. Yeah. Suppose you are producing a toy, you have a toy manufacturing company, and you are having a lot of scrap in the normal operations, you're selling that and you're getting money in return. That is also your income. Okay. Guys, any questions here? Because we need to be very clear about these three types of accounts before we dig into the accounting entries. I'm sorry, guys, I couldn't look at the messages.
Take
Yeah. Yes, please.
So, ma'am, are we going to discuss few general entries or accounting entries like related to
After
these
this,
accounts?
once
Examples of
everybody
each one.
once everybody is clear with the three types of accounts, then I'll move towards the journal entries. Probably I can open an Excel and take up some imaginary entries from you and start posting journal
Sure,
entries.
ma'am. Sure. Please continue.
Yeah, but all of you need to please
Sure,
confirm
ma'am.
me. That
And
you
ma'am,
have...
one more thing.
Yeah, please.
Ma'am,
Hello?
is it the network issue from your end or is it from my end? Because your voice is breaking again and again.
I can't really say, Bhavish, that other people
So-
will have to confirm if my voice is breaking or it's from your end. Mahima is saying that it's
Okay,
from
ma'am, it's
your
from
end.
my end. Okay.
Anybody else also please confirm if you are able to hear my voice properly, or if my voice is breaking, I'll have to check my internet for
Ma'am,
that.
everyone can hear you.
Okay.
Ma'am, they have informed me that my
You can
internet is
log
working
out
slow.
and come again, Bhavesh. However, I can hear
Okay,
you
ma'am.
properly. I can't really say that you have internet issues. Maybe you can just log out and come join in again.
That's right, ma'am.
Meanwhile, I'll take
Sure, ma'am, sure.
queries from other people. Okay. Anybody else, if there is a query, please let me know so that we can move forward to understanding the rules, and then probably we can start posting journal entries. Guys, please confirm. Should I move forward? Or you have any sort of queries with these three types of accounts? Because this is the very basic, you know, this is the underlying, what you can say, the underlying pillar for understanding all of the accounts. Okay, great. So let me just move towards understanding the accounting rules now. So first thing first, we'll go account by account. Okay. So for personal accounts, we have a rule: debit the receiver, credit the giver. So if you look at the rule also, you will see that we are talking about receivers and givers, right? Only people can be receivers and givers, right? If artificial or real, maybe we are talking about a company or a partnership firm, your suppliers, maybe your debtors, your creditors, your employees, whoever are persons, real or artificial, can be receivers or givers. That is why the rule has been formed: debit the receiver, credit the giver. So let's look at the example that is here in the slide. Mr. X paid rupees 50 to XYZ Private Limited company by check. Okay. So the rule says debit the receiver, credit the giver. Who is the receiver here? XYZ company. So XYZ company has been debited by rupees 50. And however, Mr. X is the giver. In a general situation, Mr. X would have been credited. But since this payment is via check, so this person would have got the payment from the bank. That is why here the bank has been credited. Okay. The payment would have been received in the bank account. That is why bank account has been credited. Debit the receiver, credit the giver. Do we understand this rule? You'll have to learn it by heart. Debit the receiver, credit the giver. Bhavesh, have you joined back, or like I should? Okay, anyway, we can come back to understanding the rules if anybody has a query. Anybody else? Do we understand this rule? Any question? So for real account, we have the rule: debit what comes in, credit what goes out. So like we talked that what are real accounts? Real accounts are asset accounts. Okay. And assets have by default a debit balance. If you look at a trial balance, if you look at a balance sheet, all the assets would by default have a debit balance only. So if you have to increase the amount of asset in your books, you have to debit what comes in, and you have to reduce the asset balance in your books. You'll have to credit that asset account. Okay. So here is how we say the rule is: debit what comes in, credit what goes out. So if an asset is increased, you debit that. And if you want to decrease an asset, you credit that.
Hi, ma'am. Have I missed anything?
Yeah, you missed a rule for personal account.
Ma'am, would you mind repeating it, please?
No worries. So the rule for personal accounts is debit the receiver, credit the giver. So like we said that personal accounts are anything related to persons, real or artificial. So only persons can be receivers or givers, right? So that is why the rule is debit the receiver and credit the giver.
All right.
Okay, and here we have an example for that. Mr. X paid rupees 50 to XYZ Private Limited company by
Yeah.
check. Okay, so who is the receiver here? XYZ company, right? So we have debited that. Debit the receiver, XYZ Private Limited company. And we have to credit the giver. So however, Mr. X has paid rupees 50. We should have credited Mr. X here. But since the payment has been made by check, that is why bank account has been created here. Okay.
Ma'am, can't we do Mr. X here? Like credit.
You can do. So ideally what happens is that you are doing accounting on due basis. Okay, you first make the accounts due and then only you receive or pay. So by default, the entries that happen in the books is that whoever the receiver is debited and whoever the giver is credited. So in your books, you must be having a due balance from X by rupees 50. Okay, and when you receive money from Mr. X, you have to nullify that balance. Okay, because in your books right now, you must be showing rupees 50 due from Mr. X. And if you don't credit Mr. X's account, rupees 50 would be lying there till eternity. So ideally, yes.
Ma'am, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
नहीं समझ में आया.
नहीं समझ आया, रुको. Let me see if I can. Okay, you can just park this. When I'll open an Excel
Okay,
book,
okay.
I'll start posting journal entries from transactions there. Okay.
Sure, ma'am.
So by that time, till that time, just have this rule in mind that you are debiting the receivers and credit the givers. We can come to examples later on. Next, we were talking about the real accounts rules, which is debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Okay, so like we talked about the nature of real accounts, which is that these are assets accounts. Okay, so if you have to increase the amount of assets in your books, you will have to debit those assets. And you want to decrease the assets balance in your books, you'll have to credit that assets account. Okay, so here we have an example. Company XYZ purchases its machinery worth rupees 1,000 for cash. So machinery account will be debited because you have increased the machinery in your books, right? Debit what comes in. Machinery has came in. The balance of machinery has increased in your books. So you debit the machinery account by 1,000 rupees. And since you have paid in cash, yeah, so the cash has gone out of your books by how much amount? Rupees 1,000. So machinery account debit to cash account. The rule is debit what comes in, credit what goes out.
Okay, ma'am, I have a general question.
Yeah, please.
Ma'am, can okay, so कभी ऐसा हो सकता है कि पर्सनल अकाउंट में से एक डेबिट हो रहा हो और नॉमिनल अकाउंट में से या रियल अकाउंट में से?
I was about to say that only. Just hear me out. Okay, so here, let's assume that the payment was not made in cash. Okay, so company XYZ purchased its machinery on credit. Okay, so that XYZ doesn't have to pay for the machinery right away. It has a 60 days credit period. And suppose it purchased the machinery from ABC company. Okay. So in that case, what do you think the entry would be? Machinery would be still debited. Okay. Why? Because the machinery has increased. So you'll debit machinery account by rupees 1,000. Right? And since you have purchased the machinery from ABC, Let's go back to personal accounts and see what is the rule. Debit the receiver, credit the giver, right? So ABC company is the giver here. It has given you the machinery. It has given you credit period. So you will be crediting ABC company. So here alternatively the entry would be machinery account debit 1000 to ABC company 1000, and ABC would be your creditor. So here you can see that we have, posted the debit leg of the entry in real account and posted the credit leg of the entry in personal account. Yeah.
I'm here. Machinery is okay. Are you talking about machinery to ABC or machinery to cash?
I just said that we are assuming that cash has not been paid and we have purchased the machinery in credit.
Yes. Yes.
The
Yes.
second example that we got. Okay, cash.
Okay. Now
Cash
one more thing. Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
Okay, tell me.
Second question. Ma'am, do we have any such entry in accounting where in like an entry is getting debit from the personal and an entry is getting debited again from like nominal account or in personal account?
But then in that case, an equal impact would be there in somewhere in credit. Yeah, somewhere maybe in real, maybe personal, or maybe nominal. But the credit leg will be there. So it's quite possible that in a single entry, you are debiting all three kinds of accounts, and in credit also all three kinds of accounts. It's very much possible. Whatever combination is very much possible. Maybe you are debiting with nominal and crediting with personal. It's very much possible. Yeah. Suppose you'll get confused if I quote examples here.
No, ma'am. I got your point. So we can probably do that later in this.
Yeah, because we have a lot of examples here in further slides.
Sure. Thank you. Please continue.
So here is the third rule for nominal accounts. Debit all expenses and losses and credit all incomes and gains. Okay. So like we said that what are nominal accounts? Nominal accounts are all the elements related to expenses, incomes, gains, and losses. Okay. So the rule for the nature of these accounts would be debit all expenses and losses and credit all incomes and gains. Okay. So all expenses and losses would by default have a debit balance, because by default you debit all expenses. So suppose you have incurred expenditure on repair and maintenance in your company. So repair and maintenance is an expense. So you will debit repair and maintenance account. And suppose you have paid in cash for that repair and maintenance. Okay. So what will you credit? Anyone? Suppose you have paid for repair and maintenance in cash. So you are debiting repair and maintenance account, which is a nominal account. And what will you credit?
Services, maintenance services.
Hello?
Maintenance services.
नहीं भाई, सर्विसेज में क्यों पहुंच जाते हो आप लोग बात? कैश में आपने पे,
Maintenance.
राइट? सॉरी, कम अगेन.
Ma'am, pata nahi, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Let me quote the question again. रिपेयर एंड मेंटेनेंस करवाया है आपने अपनी कंपनी में और उसके लिए कैश में पे किया है. Okay, so let's break it down. Okay, let's first understand what are the two elements at least in the entry. One is repair and maintenance that you're getting done, and then there is cash. Okay, so you'll have to break down the transactions in this way only. How much complex an entry can be, even if in the case of demerger or spin-off or a purchase or acquisition or business combination or amalgamation, or even if a simple purchase of inventory, you'll have to break it down. Okay, so we are getting a repair work done in our company and we are paying in cash for that. So repair work is being done. So what is a repair? It's an expense, right? First, tell me whether repair and maintenance is an expense or is it something else?
Ma'am, it is an expense.
It is an expense. So all expenses and losses would be nominal accounts.
Yes.
The rule is debit all expenses. Okay, so you will be debiting repairs and maintenance account. Simple. This is one part done. Second part is that you have paid in cash for that. What is cash? Is it a personal account or a nominal account or a real account?
Ma'am, it is a real account.
Why? Because cash is an asset.
Yes.
All assets are real accounts. And what is the rule for real accounts? Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Since you are paying in cash, the cash is going out from your hands. So would you be debiting cash or crediting the cash?
Crediting the cash.
Yeah. So ban gayi entry. Repair maintenance account debit to cash account. Now tell me.
Ma'am, ये slide पे okay. So far everything is clear, but
I was quoting it from my side only. But tell me, are you able to understand that you have to break down an entry and then only decipher whether what to debit and what to credit?
exactly, yeah.
Let me go to another example. Let's see. But here we have answers also. No? That's why I don't.
So ma'am, don't just press next button, so the answer will not pop up.
नहीं वो होगा ही because either it will be the whole slide or it will be like this. But anyway, I have questions on the further slides. Maybe I can just move to questions only if you say.
Ma'am, I think there are 2-3 examples, so we can probably look at them.
I don't see examples. I don't know where I had looked at. Maybe it's at the end of the slide or what. No worries. I'll just open an Excel book and I can't see transactions here. Maybe it's at the very end. I'll have to go to the end of the presentation for that. But anyway, let me just open an Excel and probably. But would you guys want to spend time on understanding the journal entries, or you want to discuss about further topics or something? Should I open an Excel book and start posting journal entries? Would that be okay? Okay, so let me start opening an Excel here. Is my Excel workbook visible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
मैम मुश्किल देना थोड़ी.
Sorry. मुश्किल क्या? Sorry. Couldn't hear you.
I'm saying just quote some difficult.
So then you quote it.
I'm saying
Maybe
just quote some difficult entries or
maybe I'll not be able to
general
quote
entries.
something that difficult. Maybe you can come up
Ma'am,
with
I
something.
am not at all clear about the.
Okay, let me just first put up.
So, ma'am, I was pursuing chartered accountancy, to be honest with you, but
Mhm. So, but then you would be knowing all this, right?
ma'am, yes, but not by this way.
No worries. So what happens is that we all know all the basic accounting and everything, but when we have to discuss all the rules and everything, we need to go back to our basics and everything. Even I might have to pick up my 11, 12 standard books for this. So that's okay. Okay, for personal accounts, please quote the rule.
Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Sorry, debit the receiver, credit the giver.
Yeah. So you only will get these journal entries made, all of you. Okay.
Okay.
For ease, I have put up the rules here so that you can, look up and make the entry niche. Okay. Let's start. Hanji. So tell me some transaction and let's start posting journal entries. Let's see. Let's first break it down and then probably we can, post the entries. सबसे पहले ये services वाला चीज समझते हैं because I think everybody is confused about services. Where do they fall exactly? Nominal, real, personal. I think a lot is happening around services part. So let's first understand the transaction. Okay. So please quote me an example. Fatafat. Let's not waste time.
So, ma'am, I took services from a chartered accountant or an electrician.
Okay, so let's say you are XYZ, okay? Took services from?
Chartered accountant, a CA.
Okay. So whatever you got done, maybe you got your return filed or something, right?
Yeah.
So let's assume you're a company or you're an individual. Well, the rule
Ma'am,
remains
company.
the same, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Okay. You are XYZ Limited, okay? Okay, so what are the two parts here, guys? And may I know what terms have XYZ taken these services, whether they have paid in cash or not? So, guys, by default, if it's not written that payment has been made in cash, you don't assume that payment has been made in cash. Okay. So, since here in the sentence, it's not written that XYZ has paid in cash for the services they have received from CA. Okay, so you do not assume that you have paid in cash. We'll assume that we have taken the services on credit only.
So, ma'am, now are you going to clear me the fact of वही जो आपने बोला था कि accrue होगा and pay कर दिया and accrue नहीं हुआ था तो pay नहीं कर रहा था and wallet.
By default, yeah. By default, we to do like that only. So I'll do it that way. Okay. So let's see. एक काम करते हैं. By default, this is a credit transaction. We'll also analyze the cash wala part. Okay. We'll look at both. And meanwhile, other people, please come up with a transaction so that we can break it down and post journal entries. Okay. So what are the two parts here, guys? Come on, break it down, break it down. Identify the accounts which are to be hit in this transaction.
Services and CA.
Okay. Any more?
मैम XYZ ने सर्विसेज लिए तो एक वो होगा, एंड सर्विसेज दी किसने है वो हमें उसने दिए CA ने, तो वो होगा दूसरा.
ठीक है. Any more?
Ma'am, Akansha is saying XYZ and CA. I don't know why she's not saying services.
Okay, guys, मैंने ना अपना chat window minimize कर दिया है, so you'll have to speak up only. X, Y, Z, and CA. I've written all the possible options, so that's okay. Hanji. So first thing first, C. Whatever journal entries, ledgers, trial balances, financial statements you are making, you're doing that for a company. Okay. So when I asked for an example, you said that I took services, but I didn't write I. I wrote X, Y, Z. Okay. When you're saying I took services, you are talking in the capacity of X, Y, Z. So we are doing this set of journal entries in the books of XYZ Limited. You have to write this on the top of the journal entries.
Yes, ma'am. Now I can remember 11th, 12th. Yeah.
तो ये भी होता था, यहाँ पे डेबिट क्रेडिट भी लिखना होता था. Anyway, so in the books of XYZ, you are posting these journal entries. Okay. Now you have taken services from CA. So you have incurred an expense. Okay. What exactly has happened here? You have taken services, right? You're a business. Whatever you're paying for could be only your expense, right? If you're paying somebody a salary, you are getting work done from a consultant, or maybe you are paying some taxes. It is all your expense.
Yeah.
Any question around this? Whoever was talking about services part, let's discuss it now and close it. So there can be only two possibilities when you talk about services. You are giving services or you are receiving services. Okay. In this question, you have received services. So if you have received services from somebody, you will have to pay for that, right? So essentially, it is your expense.
True.
And if you're giving services to somebody, you will get money for that. So that will be your income. So anyhow, services would be either your expense or your income.
Or your income.
So that
Yeah.
is your nominal account.
Okay, so you're trying to say कि services हमेशा nominal ही होंगी.
Services would already be always be a nominal account. Tell me a possibility where it can be something else.
Ma'am, I have no idea about that, so I am going by your words.
I'll
So
give you a
I will
complex
take
thing
it as.
No. I'll tell you a complex thing also. Suppose you have hired a professional to make a software for you.
Okay.
Okay. So suppose you have hired a consultant, maybe some engineer, IT engineer or somebody who is making a software for you. So at that moment, two things are happening. One, that the engineer that work is doing, he's giving you services, you are receiving services, and an asset is being built because that person is taking maybe 1 or 2 years to make that software. So two things are happening there. Okay, not just
Okay.
it's not be just an expense that will be hidden in your P&L. I'll tell you all the possibilities here. ठीक है. So we have a simple example also and we have a complex example also. Let's start posting journal entries for it. Like I said, services either you would receive or you would give. In our example, you're receiving services. So if you're receiving services, you will have to pay for it. Simple. Okay. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay, ma'am.
Okay. So if that is your expense, it's a nominal account. What is the rule? Debit the expenses and credit the incomes. ठीक है. Now this depends कि आपने expense क्या incur किया है. What services have you taken? Suppose you have got your return filed. कितने पैसे देने हैं सीए को? 5000 दे देते हैं. ठीक है. So आपने सर्विसेज ली थी रिटर्न फाइलिंग की. So that is your expense. You have debited the expense in your books. And then you
Yes,
didn't
ma'am.
pay in cash. You took the services from CA. So the second aspect here is the CA. The CA is now your creditor. क्योंकि पैसे तो आपने उसको दिए नहीं है. So that CA is creditor now. Okay, and CA is a person. So it's a personal account. What is the rule here? Debit the receiver, credit the giver.
तो मैम यहाँ पर भी डेबिट हो जाएगा सीए.
कैसे? CA is not the receiver. CA has given you the services.
मैम बट अगर आप हमारे हिसाब से देखो तो डेबिट द रिसीवर, सीए रिसीव कर रहा है.
CA कैसे रिसीव कर रहा है? XYZ took, आप ही ने तो लिखवाया है, XYZ took services from CA. What does it mean? CA क्या रिसीव कर रहा है? CA is not receiving the services. CA is receiving money. ठीक है, one by one करते हैं. In the books of XYZ, CA उसके लिए तो गिवर ही है.
ओके मैम. ठीक है मैम, ठीक है.
For XYZ, CA is the giver.
Let me just absorb this. Just a moment, ma'am. So, CA.
Should I move forward? Have you analyzed it?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Okay. So if you say that return filing expense has been incurred by XYZ Limited. Yeah. So you debited the expense. Why? Because nominal accounts, debit the expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. Okay. So you debited the expense and you got these services from CA. So you credited the CA. Similarly, since you were getting confused that CA is the receiver, I drew up the books of CA also for you. So suppose now you're posting the journal entries in the books of CA. Okay. So CA has given the services to XYZ Limited. Right? So for XYZ Limited, just see that he has provided the return filing services to XYZ Limited. So he has, gained income from return filing. तो उसके लिए भी nominal account हो गया.
ठीक है मैम. Credit all incomes. ठीक है.
Credit all incomes, right? And XYZ is again personal account. Debit the receiver, credit the giver. तो जो रिटर्न फाइलिंग की सर्विसेज हैं ये ली किसने हैं, XYZ ने, राइट? तो XYZ इज द रिसीवर,
सीए के लिए, सीए के लिए,
राइट?
सीए के लिए,
True.
ओके।
So now look at these two parallelly. You will see here. ये देखो, debit the receiver, credit the giver, ठीक है? Debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. देखा? It works like this parallelly. एक के लिए एक्सपेंस है तो दूसरे के लिए इनकम होगा.
Okay. Ma'am,
हाँ जी, sorry.
Ma'am, it's clear. So, ma'am, if in case it was not on credit and it,
Yeah, so if it would have been cash, so CA हटा देते हैं फिर यहाँ से, 1 by 1 चलते हैं, ठीक है? कैश
मैम
में
अभी सीए
payment-
आप लगे रहने दो मैम, अभी ना आप सीए लगे रहने दो, उसके लिए एक अलग टेबल बना दो प्लीज।
ओके, ठीक है। तो रिटर्न फाइलिंग एक्सपेंस तो फिर भी एक्सपेंस ही रहेगा, इट विल बी योर नॉमिनल अकाउंट, इसमें तो कोई चेंज नहीं होगा। सर्विसेज आपने ली हैं और एक्सपेंस इनकर किया है, तो रिटर्न फाइलिंग एक्सपेंस वुड बी डेबिटेड, दैट रिमेन्स द सेम। Only change here now is that you have paid in cash, so cash has gone out, and cash is what? Which account of these three?
रियल अकाउंट।
Exactly. What is the rule? Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. So cash has gone out. So cash account credited by 5,000 rupees. So the entry becomes return filing expense debit 5,000, cash account credit 5,000.
Okay. Yes, ma'am, clear to me. And I just wanted to ask you one question, ma'am. If we talk about the first entry,
This one?
हाँ जी मैम, and the day when we make the payment in real,
Yeah.
उस दिन क्या होगा?
Yeah, good question. So let me just delete this one. Okay, we don't need
मैम
this
प्लीज
one.
इसे डिलीट मैम उस ओके ठीक है मैम।
ठीक है? So you did this entry on day 1 because you didn't pay in cash. Suppose after a month you are going to pay to CA. Yeah. So right now, if you look at the CA account in your books, it would be having a 5,000 rupees credit balance. It would be showing the CA as your creditor, that you are supposed to pay rupees 5,000 to your CA. Okay. So when you make payment in cash, you should nullify this balance, right? Now let's not get confused. Let's start posting the entry and then probably we can read it. So now you have paid rupees 5,000 to CA. यही वाला CA. Let's assume कि इसी रिटर्न फाइलिंग एक्सपेंस के अगेंस्ट हमने पेमेंट करी है. So now in cash. What are the two aspects here now?
मैम रियल अकाउंट एंड पर्सनल अकाउंट।
Perfect. ठीक है. So cash has gone out. What is the rule? Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. So since
रियल
cash
अकाउंट
has
क्रेडिट
gone,
व्हाट गोज आउट, ठीक है मैम, कैश इज गोइंग इन।
cash is going out, so 5,000 कैश की पेमेंट हो गई. एंड सिंस CA को पे किया है आपने, CA कौन है? पर्सनल अकाउंट. व्हाट इज द रूल? डेबिट द रिसीवर, क्रेडिट द गिवर. CA को मिले हैं 5,000
Yeah.
रुपीज, CA को डेबिट कर दो. अब अगर आप इस पूरी एंट्री को इकट्ठे पढ़ने की कोशिश करोगे, सीए अकाउंट एक बार क्रेडिट हुआ और एक बार डेबिट हुआ, तो बैलेंस तो खत्म हो गया ना उसका फिर। तो सीए का अकाउंट एक बार क्रेडिट हुआ एक बार डेबिट हुआ, बैलेंस 0 हो गया उसका, राइट? So this is what I was talking about, the due basis of counting. Even if you would have paid in cash, just try to understand this. Even if you would have paid the payment in cash in one go, suppose you would have taken these services in cash only, even then, I would suggest that you post the entries like this only. You first make the payment due for CA and then only you pay it. This is called the due basis of accounting.
मैम ऐसा क्यों, जब हम एक ही बारी में कर सकते हैं कैश देके तो?
Yeah. So होता क्या है, when you actually sit to reconcile the entries ना, होता क्या है, you would not know that you know this account. So अभी यहाँ पे बहुत simple दिखाई दे रहा है, it's written CA account, ठीक है? For a large organization, just try and see, they might be having 10 or 20 consultants sitting at one time doing a lot of work. You would never be able to tell कि ये वाले पैसे आपने किसको दिए, क्योंकि कैश तो कैश है.
अच्छा, CA1 CA2 कर सकते हैं, CA3 CA4 भी कर सकते हैं, like CA5 CA6.
Exactly. नहीं तो उसका नाम लिखो ना फिर आप.
Yeah, I mean whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is. So that when you take out the reports, लेजर आप निकालोगे या आप जर्नल लेजर निकालोगे या जैसे भी आप एंट्रीज रन करोगे, अगर आप सीए का अकाउंट देखोगे, देन ऑल्सो यू विल गेट टू नो दैट आपने उनसे क्या क्या सर्विसेज ली हैं, उनको पेमेंट कर दिया नहीं.
CA11 को गया है, CA12 को गया है, something like that.
So it's better. तो होता क्या है, अगर आप प्रैक्टिकली कंपनीज में देखोगे ना, जिन लोगों को नहीं इतना पता होता या नहीं प्रॉपर्ली उनको अकाउंटिंग का इतना नॉलेज होता है, वो नॉर्मली ये एंट्री डाल देते हैं, रिटर्न फाइलिंग एक्सपेंस डेबिट टू कैश. तो फिर आप उसको बैठ के फिगर आउट करते रहो कि वो कैश की पेमेंट किसको गई है, क्यों गई है, डबल तो नहीं हो गई, क्योंकि ट्रांजैक्शन आपको पता ही नहीं चलेगी. अगर मान लो यहाँ पे आप यही 3 बार डाल दो आपकी एंट्री, रिटर्न फाइलिंग एक्सपेंस टू कैश, रिटर्न फाइलिंग एक्सपेंस टू कैश, रिटर्न फाइलिंग एक्सपेंस टू कैश, यू विल नेवर नो कि कौन सी वाली सही है, कितनी बार डबल पेमेंट तो नहीं हो गई, ट्रिपल पेमेंट तो नहीं हो गई, कभी आपको ट्रांजैक्शन की ऑथेंटिसिटी पता नहीं चलेगी.
Exactly. Ma'am, Akansha has a question. She is asking in the chat box.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. If many people are giving services, then isn't it salaries account being debited? So Akansha, there is a difference between employees and consultants for a company. Okay, employees are hired by the company as employees, and consultants are outside people who are not employees. Okay, so like I am a part of KPMG, I am handling 4 or 5 processes of a company right now, but I'm not an employee of that company. I am an employee of KPMG only. I'm working as a consultant for that company. And I have a team of 50-60 people, but all of them are also a part of KPMG only and not that client. We are not employees of that client. We are only working as consultants. So there is a difference. You cannot debit the salaries account for us. You will have to pay us consultants fee only. So there is a difference in nature. Okay, that if many people are giving services, only if they are employees, then only you will debit the salaries account. Anyone else, guys? Any question or any complex entry that you think we should discuss here for better understanding, or any doubts in the accounts or the rules, or how do we post a journal entry? Anything, just come up with it.
Ma'am, can we discuss about prepaid expenses?
Yeah, sure.
Or is that already aligned in your class later on?
It should be there. If not in today's session, maybe in later coming sessions where you will discuss the specific financial statements and specific financial items. There you might be having prepaid accounts. So I'll only be taking that session. So if not today, you can discuss it there.
Sure, ma'am. Please continue with your material.
So, is this clear? Anybody having any queries here, or should I move with the presentation now?
Yes, ma'am. Please continue with that.
So we have discussed all of these examples, right? So we have already discussed the 3 rules of accounting, right? So you might have noticed that there is a debit leg and there is a credit leg. Yeah. So this dual aspect is called the double entry bookkeeping system. So that you have a equal impact in debit as well as the credit leg. Okay. So there is also a single entry bookkeeping system, which is also, you know, known as the cash basis. Like I was telling you that if you don't post the due basis of accounting, like if you do not debit and credit the CA's account and you simply do the entry via cash, that will be a single entry bookkeeping system. Okay. Because you're not doing the accounting on due basis. Like I said, there is an equal impact on both sides in double entry bookkeeping system. Even if you're making the payment in cash, even if you're not making the payment in cash, you debit or credit the receiver or giver, or probably, you know, income or expense or gains or losses, but there has to be an equal impact on the other leg. Debit and credit have to be equal. This is the double entry bookkeeping system that we are talking about. Yeah. So this is the present day bookkeeping and accounting. Like I said, the single entry bookkeeping system is not followed by large organizations or, firms. Single entry bookkeeping system is followed by mostly the NGOs or non-profitable or maybe charitable organizations or gyms and like that, who do not need a
Ma'am.
full set of, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Please continue, ma'am.
So wherever they don't need a full set of financial statements,
So can I ask a question?
The bookkeeping system. Hanji.
Ma'am, looking at the equity part, can we discuss an entry for equity, if you don't mind, like raising IPOs or you know, capital infusion or taking debt for the organization? Can we discuss any entry about that?
So that is again, whatever entry you want to record in your books of account, you need to break it down and follow these 3 again. These are the only 3 set of rules that will help you, even for equity. So what is equity? What do you understand by equity? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
What is equity? What do you understand by equity?
Ma'am, equity is okay. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm falling short of words right now.
So equity is nothing, but it is the shareholders funds that we are talking about. If you look at the accounting equation, we would be coming to that in the later slides, or if you can look at it in the present slide also, right below the thumbs up, you can see the accounting equation. Assets is equal to liabilities plus equity. Okay, so whatever money you have on the asset side is equal to the liabilities plus equity. Liability is what? Something that you owe to the outsiders. And equity is something that you owe to the shareholders of the company. Yeah.
Okay.
So equity is shareholders funds. So it is necessarily, yeah. So it is necessarily either personal account or the nominal account.
Okay, ma'am. So just keep it simple. So let's suppose XYZ Limited raised rupees 5,000 from equity. So what is going to be the entry?
So you are saying that you have issued shares to them?
Yes, ma'am. XYZ Limited issued shares, and they received 5,000. So I think
Okay.
5,000 is cash, which we are receiving our bank. It's a real account. And shares, ma'am. Shares are again real accounts. I think because they are assets.
No. So if you are XYZ Limited, can you look at the Excel? And guys,
Yeah.
I cannot hear anybody else speaking up. Either you guys are not interested, or maybe I'm not able to explain things to you. But just let me know if you are getting involved or not in this. I don't know. Two. Does this seem fine?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, ABC 1 है या तीन दिन है?
Sorry?
Ma'am, ABC एक अकेला individual है या there are 3 people like shareholders?
Whatever. That doesn't matter. You can take it as one or you can take it as many. But these are shareholders.
Okay.
Okay. So let's start posting entries. So let's assume that you have received cash. Okay. So cash, like you said, that it is a real account. So cash has increased. Debit, what comes in? Cash account debit. Now, the important part is what to credit. Yeah. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Yeah. So, so what you want to discuss here is that what exactly should we credit and why we should credit it, right? So XYZ has issued shares to ABC in cash. So essentially, you are able to tell that ABC has to be credited. But why? Yes?
Ma'am, because XYZ के हिसाब से देखा जाए तो they are the receiver and debit the receiver.
नहीं. So कौन है receiver आपके हिसाब से?
रिसीवर तो हम है ना, क्योंकि हमें कैश मिल रहा है. ही इज द गिवर. तो एबीसी अकाउंट क्रेडिट.
Hanji, this would be the entry. Now let's see why. Because ABC Limited has given you the money, or maybe these are separate people. Suppose this is A, B, C. Yeah. Suppose you have issued shares to a lot of people, but they are the, so first of all, these are personal accounts. Okay. A, B, C are people only, real or artificial. Maybe it is a company. Suppose a company is also invested in XYZ Limited. Doesn't really matter. Even B Limited would be a personal account. Am I
Ma'am,
right?
वो तो समझ में आ गया, ma'am. But can you fit this into debit the receiver and credit the giver वाला part?
Okay, so आपने जब शेयर्स इशू करे हैं तो पैसे आपको किसने दिए? Limited, right?
हाँ जी, ABC ने.
Yeah, so they are the givers, right?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Credit the giver.
Also, if you look at it in a way that shares जो आप issue करते हो, what exactly are shares? Shares एक ownership होती है जो आप अपने shareholders को देते हो. So they are your liabilities also. They are the givers, right? 5,000 का stake उन्होंने खरीद लिया है आपकी कंपनी में. You are liable to them. So they are the givers, right? Debit the receiver, credit the giver. So you will credit ABC by 5,000.
ठीक है
So
मैम.
अगर आप बोलोगे IPO हो रहा है, कैपिटल इन्फ्यूजन कितना भी बड़ा हो रहा है, कुछ भी हो रहा है, तो एंट्री तो यही पड़ेगी. Probably हो सकता है पैसे कैश में नहीं आ रहे, बैंक में आएंगे फॉर लार्जर डील्स, तो एंट्री बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट टू गिवर हो जाएगी, बट एंट्री तो यही रहेगी.
मैम इसमें कोई ऐसा सिनेरियो तो नहीं होता जिसमें पहले अक्रू हुआ हो, फिर ड्यू हुआ हो, फिर पे हुआ एंड समथिंग लाइक दैट? ऐसा तो कुछ नहीं होता इसमें?
तो वो तो फिर पूरा शेयर एप्लीकेशन का जो पूरा प्रोसेस होता है ना, वो फिर उसके हिसाब से एंट्री पड़ेगी ना. फर्स्ट यू अप्लाई फॉर शेयर, तो शेयर एप्लीकेशन मनी आएगी, फिर शेयर एप्लीकेशन मनी से शेयर अलॉटमेंट अकाउंट में जाएगी, फिर शेयर अलॉटमेंट अकाउंट से शेयर इशूड अकाउंट में जाएगी, सिक्योरिटी प्रीमियम में जाएगी. वो तो फुल सेट ऑफ एंट्रीज है.
एग्जैक्टली मैम. या
तो फिट इनटू दीस 3 रूल्स इतना ही इनफ है.
ओके. Just last thing, dividend paid. Can we please? Okay, ma'am, Megha is saying, can you please repeat whatever you have just said?
Whatever कहाँ से? Starting there.
I'm sorry. So,
Sorry. Come again, please. Let me have
ma'am,
a look at the.
I'm waiting for Megha to write.
Megha, what exactly did you miss?
Ma'am, last example.
There's one.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was saying that, okay, let me switch to the Excel book then. So Megha, this was the example that we were talking about. XYZ Limited issued shares of rupees 5,000 to ABC. Okay, so ABC is the shareholder. So I was trying to post the journal entry for this transaction using these 3 rules. Okay, so since you have issued the shares in cash and cash is a real account, you will debit the cash account. Why? Because debit what comes in, right? You have received cash, so debit the cash account. Then you have got the money from your shareholders, right? They are the givers. So debit the receiver, credit the giver. So we have credited ABC for that. So entry becomes cash account debit to ABC. Likewise, I was saying that probably in place of cash, you might be receiving money in bank. So you will debit the bank account. And entry would be bank account debit to ABC. Does this make sense? Megha, is this clear with you?
Ma'am, she's saying okay. Can you please explain the accrual concept?
Actual concept is coming later into the presentation. So we'll discuss it in detail there. So double entry bookkeeping system is clear with everyone, I believe, right? Okay, so the next up, the discussion is about managerial versus financial accounting. So you might be hearing a lot of times the managerial accounting term and the financial accounting term. What exactly is the difference between the two? Yeah. So managerial accounting is necessarily, the term that you hear, the management accounts that are prepared, using which the management prepares budgets, takes decisions. There is a lot of in detailed information related to the insides of the business. every process and every product line, every segment. You know, there is a detailed in-depth information related to every aspect of the business. So those are the managerial accounts. And then there is financial accounting. So financial accounting is not that in-depth related to, you know, each of the process, not related to each of the segment detail, what business is there, how many customers, what are the sales, and everything in detail. Financial accounting is simple, you know, where you prepare the set of financial statements. And it's for the stakeholders. Remember, the lenders, the creditors, the taxation authorities, governments. You don't present your managerial accounts to them. They don't have to be given the insider information, the confidential informations related to your decisions, you know, inside secrets and everything. So those are the financial accounts that you present. The P&L, the balance sheet, cash flow statement, disclosures, whatever is given to outsiders. That is financial accounting. So financial accounting, we have already discussed all of this in detail, that what is the need of it and what exactly are financial accounts, right? The P&L, the balance sheet, cash flow statement. And why do external users need this information? Okay, should I move forward?
Definitely, ma'am.
So these are the aspects of financial accounting. One is the quantitative information. Again, like we discussed, that anything that has monetary value can be recorded in the books of accounts. Anything that has a financial impact is your quantitative information. Then there is historical cost concept. Yeah, so accounting is really the historical thing that you're doing, right? You record a transaction only after it's happening. Even if you know something is going to happen, you cannot record it in books and accounts, right? Because it does not have a monetary value attached to it or economic substance before it has happened. You cannot prepare your books on anticipation. Okay, so this is the concept that we talk about in financial accounting, the historical cost concept. Once something has happened, then only you record it. Then there is price level changes. Price level changes are not reflected in your financial accounting as such. It is related to managerial accounting. And then there is macro level information. Macro level information is something happening in your business environment. Okay, so what impact these things are reflecting on your business? So for example, nowadays, if we talk about the macro level changes that are happening, might be, you know, government policies related to COVID and all, maybe the lockdown, or maybe, you know, some competitor has lost the business because of the lockdown, and now you have better prospects to customers and to, you know, new markets, or maybe you are also suffering a loss due to this. So this is all macro level information. So that is also required to be reflected in your financials. Yeah. So these are the further aspects. So cost information or comparison of budget versus actuals, actual picture, scope for manipulation, technical nature. So these are all the features of financial accounting. Okay, so there is always a scope for manipulation, like we talked, that there is a conflict of interest between the shareholders and the suppliers. Probably they want better stock prices, or somebody wants a true picture. Yeah, there is a conflict. So there is always scope for manipulation. Have you heard about the term cooking of books? So at times what people do is, show fake revenues, inflate the accounts, show fake profits, fake loans and everything. So there is a lot of scope for manipulation. Yeah. So any feature that you would like me to discuss in detail, or should I move forward? Okay, so the essential difference that should be clear with all of us should be the difference between accounting and bookkeeping. Okay, so do not mix up accounting with bookkeeping. Accounting is the whole process where you record a transaction, then you classify it, summarize it, communicate it, interpret it, analyze it. It is a whole process. You remember the steps that we had discussed? First, you record a journal entry, then you classify it into ledgers, then you prepare a trial balance, a P&L, a balance sheet, prepare disclosures. All of that is accounting. Okay. While bookkeeping is a part of accounting. Okay. Bookkeeping is only the part where, you are recording the journal entries, maintaining ledgers. Bookkeeping is confined to that step only. So it is a part of accounting. So now, do we understand the difference between accounting and bookkeeping? So now, like we talked about accounting versus bookkeeping. Okay, so guys, the process of preparing all the financial statements, interpreting and analyzing all that information, drawing up a full set of financial statements, that step is called the financial reporting. So if you look at the hierarchy, at the bottom would be the bookkeeping part, which is limited to the step of preparing ledgers and maintaining the books of accounts. After that step, you can say that you have accounting. Yeah, because it is limited to the part where you are, interpreting all the information into the form of several reports. And then there is the financial reporting part. You are going to the highest level of, gathering all the accounting information, making meaningful interpretations from it, putting disclosures in your financial statements. You know what to disclose and what not to disclose. All of that is higher level work. That is financial reporting. Yeah, so this is the hierarchy. Bookkeeping, then you have accounting, and then you have financial reporting. Yeah, like we discussed, it's the same thing. So talking about the accounting profession, you might be an accountant who does private work. You are into practice, giving services to a large number of individuals or companies, maybe a freelancer, or you have your own practice set up. Then you can be a private, working for a private company, or, working for government or somewhere for taxation authorities or anywhere. You might be in job in general. So for example, I am a chartered accountant and I am into job and I'm working with KPMG. So I can work only for KPMG, right? And then you can be an accountant for non-profitable purposes also, giving your services to non-profitable or charitable organizations. Yeah. So there are a lot of ways where you can be doing your work. You can be doing it on your own, or you can be in your jobs. Yeah. So guys, like we talked about the features of the financial information, or I would say financial reporting, we were also talking about two things. One was the possibility of manipulation, and then we were also talking about the conflict of interest. Yeah, so because there is a conflict of interest in the needs of various stakeholders, then only the manipulation of books comes into account. The need for manipulation arises from such conflicts only. That somebody wants a better picture, somebody wants a worse picture, maybe you want to show losses in your financial statements so as to save on the taxes, or you want to get some subsidy or some benefit from government. So that is how you want to cook your books up to show a picture so that government approves you of that subsidy. So all of that. So while you might be in a position where as an accountant you might be required to do something wrong. So guys, whatever your position you are in, maybe you are a private practice person, or you're into a job, or you're doing work for a non-profitable organization, you need to stick to your ethics. Okay, that whatever is wrong, you should not be doing it. Even if you can see that there is no immediate loss or something to anybody, but there might always be a bigger picture of which you might not be aware. So, sticking to your ethics, your standards of conduct, the code of conduct that is given to you, it's very, very, very necessary. Okay, so even if the management want you to do something wrong with the financial statements, they want you to show fake information in there, you should be very clear that you have to blow the whistle and you need not be a part of all that wrongdoing. Okay, guys, any questions here? Because I think we should wrap up the session now and start from here only tomorrow, 6 p.m. sharp. So before wrapping up and before leaving and packing for the day, I would request all of you to just speak up if you have any queries, or you can simply come back on later and ask them tomorrow or probably the week after, where I'll be talking about the specific financial items and financial statement preparation session.
Yes, ma'am. Just wanted to ask you one thing. Are we going to do balance sheet, P&L account, trial balance, and everything in the financial statement wala part?
Tomorrow. So tomorrow I would, while today I have, kind of taken a lot of time in explaining to you guys, while I do that in the later part of the session, usually what I do is I start posting journal entries, and from that only I draw ledgers, trial balance, and from that only I show the balance sheet and P&L also. So for you guys, I've invested my time today in explaining the journal entries. So I'll try to, pick those journal entries only tomorrow and start posting entries in the ledger from there. And probably draw up a trial balance also from there. And also, I'll take you through a set of real financial statements. I'll try to pull out a very latest financial statement of probably India's IFRS, so that you get to see the real picture of what exactly the financial statements look like.
Okay, ma'am. So just wanted to ask you, like, journal entries, P&L, trial balance, and balance sheet. This is all what we are going to cover, yeah?
In this session. In the next session, where we'll be talking about specific financial items and financial statement preparation, there you will be, seeing in detail the terminologies, what major financial items are, how are they calculated, what is the need of it. So I'll talk about the full set of financial statements there in detail. In this session, I'll take you through the financial statements only to have a glimpse of it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Works for you guys?
Yeah.
So, okay, any queries, or should we just wrap up the session here and start from here only tomorrow?
We'll start tomorrow, ma'am.
Okay then. ठीक है. Let's meet tomorrow at 6 p.m. sharp. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
ma'am.
Good night.
Good night.